Ubizo Lingibize engalweni Ngiyokhalela bani nayi iphimbo lami liphindaphinde entabeni Ngithi inyawo zami ngibeleze kulomhlaba nemsini Ngifunana noxolo engalweni
Sawubona to you, sawubona to yours. From one great spirit to another. Welcome to Ubizo Daily. Today, we don't end the week with outrage alone, because outrage without construction becomes performance, and that we don't do here. Anger without blueprint becomes noise, and truth without action becomes emotional entertainment. For 4 episodes, we exposed who wrote the curriculum, how Alkebulan genius was hidden, how language was attacked, and how degrees were sold as salvation. Now comes the harder question. What do we build instead? Because if we only criticize systems and never build alternatives, then we remain intellectually dependent on what we claim to reject. Today, we speak solutions. From one great spirit to another, let's speak about how education must solve real-life problems. The first correction is simple. Education must solve real problems. Can students graduate knowing how to grow food, build businesses, understand taxes, manage money, protect land rights, build technology, lead communities, resolve conflict? Can they? Because I've come to understand that many leave institutions only knowing theory, but unable to solve practical life problems and experiences. And that must end. Education must become useful. Again, let's talk about restoring historical truth. Every Alkebulan child should know the Mali Empire, Kingdom of Kush, Great Zimbabwe, Kingdom of Mapungubwe. They should know Alkebulan scientists, Alkebulan engineers, Alkebulan philosophers, Alkebulan warriors, Alkebulan agricultural systems, Alkebulan architects. This is not propaganda. It is historical correction. Children must inherit confidence built on truth. And whilst we're on truth, let's speak about the fact that language must return to the center. Teach children in their mother tongues. Preserve multilingual education. Record elders. Digitize oral traditions. Publish indigenous literature. Support indigenous language media. Language preservation is national security. Because the people disconnected from their language become disconnected from civilizational memory. Great Spirit, let's speak about entrepreneurship and how it must become normal. Not everybody should be trained to seek employment. Some must seek employment, others must teach, others must focus on business education, trade, technology, agriculture, manufacturing, creative ownership, digital infrastructure. We need job creators, we need creators, we need artists. Not generations waiting for governments and corporations to rescue them. Elders and indigenous knowledge holders must return. I'll repeat that. Elders and indigenous knowledge holders must return. Modern education removed elders. That is clear and very apparent. They removed oral wisdom. They removed practical community leadership. They removed indigenous healers and removed spiritual custodians. That was an intentional mistake. Communities do need intergenerational learning again. Children need modern science and ancestral wisdom, both, not one at the expense of the other. And as we're about to close, let's speak about becoming the alternative. And now the hardest and harshest truth. Do not wait for governments alone. Build reading groups, create scholarship funds, start community gardens, mentor children, teach practical schools, record grandparents, create digital education platforms, start after school programs, build libraries, because the educational alternative your younger self needed is what you need to become. Because revolutions are often built by ordinary people who refuse intellectual laziness. And I'm one of those people. So today, ask yourself, what part of the educational crisis are you personally capable of helping solve? Because waiting for broken systems to save future generations is also a decision. And future generations deserve builders, not just critics. The classroom of the future may not begin in universities. It may begin in homes, in villages, in community halls, in farms, in studios. And minds brave enough to rebuild what was broken. Mine and yours. Until next time, okuhle, umusa, kanye nokukhanya ekuhambeni kwakho. Light, mercy, and blessings on your path. Ubizo Daily. The call continues.